And we're back. Today we're gonna go ahead and pit the 2018 MacBook Pro with the 2.9 gigahertz i9 CPU and the Vega 20 GPU against a desktop class PC. I wanted to see how this stacks up because it seems like Apple's whole value proposition is they wanted to take as much of a desktop computer as they can and really pack it into the Pro, especially with this new Vega 20 GPU. So what I did is I took the same Geekbench tests and a hard drive test. So stay tuned, we'll go ahead and do a comparison. Followed by that, I'm gonna do my overall thoughts of the 2018 MacBook Pro. I've had it for a few days now. I've been able to use it. We'll get some audio samples of the keyboard noise between the 2016, 2018, and then a Razer keyboard I have as well for comparison. Last but not least, I'll wrap it up with my overall thoughts on the 2018 MacBook. Am I happy with it? Am I keeping it? Is my biggest question after we saw the Final Cut Pro differences. Thank you to everyone who commented in that last video. It gave me some ideas to do this video as well as whether or not I should keep the 2018, and you'll find out at the end of this video if I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So that being said, let's dive into the lab and we'll take a look at how these two computers stack up against one another. See you there. So we're back. We're gonna pit the desktop against the 2018 MacBook Pro Vega 20. It's pretty much maxed out from a CPU and RAM perspective. So this is about the fastest MacBook Pro you can get right now. Let's see how it does against a custom built 2-year-old PC, which at the time when it was built was pretty much maxed out as well. So running these through the Geekbench scores, I was actually pretty surprised at the results. It was interesting to see how well the MacBook did, but there were some aspects where the desktop PC just crushed it. Starting with single thread score, they were pretty much spot on. So even though this is a 4 gigahertz clock speed, this thing is at 2.9 gigahertz. It, in the performance test on Geekbench, was actually able to just inch it out by 1%. Now let's compare the multi-core speed where we've got 4 cores in this one and 6 cores here. So we expect this one to do a little bit better. Surprisingly, we had a score of 23,321 on the MacBook Pro compared to 13,589 multi-core CPU on the Geekbench score for the desktop PC. The i9s really did surpass the i7s even in a mobile form factor over here. Now we're gonna jump into disk speed and then we'll end on the GPU scores, which was the most surprising to me. So this has the 1 terabyte. We saw a 2656 read score. On the desktop PC, we saw 2303. So it was actually 87% as fast as the MacBook. The MacBook inched it out and was again faster in disk read speed. So write speed, we saw 2615. We're really seeing the same read and write speeds out of the MacBook Pro here. Again, it's a brand new laptop. Those could degrade over time, but it's pretty impressive that Apple's managed to squeeze out a 2600 megabits per second read and write speed out of this MacBook Pro. Last but not least, let's jump into GPU performance, which was the most shocking for me. They're selling this as a desktop class GPU. Regardless, what they've squeezed in here is incredibly impressive, and Mac, please keep it up. You're doing a great job here. When you compare it to the size of this thing, it's absurd. I mean, this thing is not going anywhere. It's staying in your house. It's massive. Yes, it's modular, so there's advantages there where you can upgrade it, but this being the size that it is, the form factor that it is, when we look at the scores here, you've got to keep that in mind. So the GPU on this guy is running a 78,000 roughly on the Geekbench score, whereas we're seeing 153,000 over here. So that's a 95% performance increase on the GTX 1070 compared to the brand new Vega 20. I think when you compare the size, I mean, you can see the card in here. It's massive. It's bigger than this MacBook itself in thickness. So overall, I was amazed to see how this MacBook performed. It beat the desktop in everything but that GPU. The GPU difference was significant, but depending on what your use cases are, this thing is a powerhouse. They've packed a ton of performance. The CPU's even better than an overclocked desktop grade i7 that, remind you, has liquid cooling on top of fan cooling. So we've got arguably a better thermal management in here, and it's still not matching the single core or, more importantly, multi-core speeds of the MacBook 2018. So overall, big thumbs up to Mac. I think they did a great job. Let's take this and compare it now with the keyboards and the screens against the 2016 real quick, and then we'll wrap this all up and let you guys know whether I'm keeping the 2018 or not. So in the last video, we compared the 2016 to the 2018, really around performance, GPU speed, CPU speed. There's been a few other significant changes Mac's made between the two, and I just wanted to talk about some things I've noticed now that I've been using the 2018 model for a few days. So first is the keyboard. Let's take a look at the audible difference between the two keyboards right now. We'll also compare it to a Razer keyboard I have, which is significantly louder than both, so you have a good comparison on the way we recorded all three. For me, there's definitely a notable difference, as you can hear through that audio recording. I used to joke when I was in meetings, why are you typing so angrily? Why is that so loud? Especially when you're on things like Slack calls, different conference calls. The keyboard's pretty noticeable on the 2016, 2017 models. What they've done is added a rubber layer between the key itself. I believe the mechanism is fundamentally the same, but it's made both a difference in your feedback and the audible level of the keyboard in the 2018. Next biggest thing is the True Tone display. I find it's a mixed bag, actually. I love it when I'm working. Throughout the day, I work from home, I work on my laptop. It's nice to have something that doesn't hurt your eyes from staring at it all day, and it does adjust itself throughout the day. The downside to that, being a video maker, is the color is off. So you're getting different hues and shades, and the biggest thing you need to remember is to turn it off when you're editing photos, when you're editing videos. However, for us creative developers, that would have been nice to be able to quickly turn it on and off through the OLED keybar. So overall, although they seem small, the differences made in the 2018 have been impactful to the things I do day to day. So let's go ahead and wrap up our thoughts on the 2018 model and whether I'm going to keep it or not. So in summary, I'm definitely keeping the 2018 model here. A lot of you guys have commented, even the 35% bump when you have background rendering enabled inside of Final Cut Pro, that adds up over time. I'm not making very long videos, anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, so I won't see a huge time save, but creating a lot of those videos over time, it definitely adds up. As well, the CPU inside of this thing is just a beast. It blew me away seeing it compared to the desktop PC, and we knew it was gonna beat the 2016 model. So I'm really happy with this thing. Let me know if you guys wanna see any other tests, tips in the future, plenty more videos to come. Again, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If not, let me know what I can do better next time, and I'll see you guys next video.